boxing fans, it's your boy Big Nige, and welcome to our latest edition of Boxing Weekly Roundup. Let's start off with Jamel Herring. He retained his title against Jonathan Oquendo after an 8-round disqualification. I didn't really watch the fight, saw a bit of clips on YouTube and read up on it. It was a tough fight. It was a tough fight for Jamel Herring. There was a clash of heads in the 5th round. Apparently it was intentional. And he got docked points. This is Oquendo I'm talking about here. He got docked points, and I guess the head clash just started to get worse and worse. Hence, that's why they had to call off the fight in the 8th. But before that, everyone basically revealed that Herring was winning on points. It was not a landslide, but he began to establish his range, was boxing him off, and it was just a tough physical fight because Oquendo just kept on coming forward. Hence the reason why they clashed heads. Good victory for Herring, but his next test, you know who it is against. It's my man Frampton, Carl Frampton that is. Carl Frampton beats him. Not even anything against Herring. Carl Frampton's world class in my opinion, and it will be a good fight. It will be a very good fight. It'll be a good, tough test, but I think Frampton comes out on victory on that side, in my opinion, and becomes freeweight world champion or 3-time world champion. But yeah, interesting fight. But yeah, looking forward to seeing the real test between himself and Carl Frampton. After his victory over Oquendo, he hinted on Twitter a possibility of retiring, which was a bit of a shock. But after that clash of heads, apparently it must have left a massive impact, because these were his exact words on his Twitter account. Sitting in a hospital alone while being called out with all sorts of negativity is something else. I'm not angry, I'm not sad, just deep in thought. I will still fulfill my obligations against Frampton, but that fight might be my last. Lost too much time from my family as it is. Massive respect to him. I only found out recently as well that he's a former army veteran as well. So massive respect to you, Herring. Yeah, I think that takes back my whole thought on how I look at him now as a fighter. Massive respect to him, and if it is your last, then hopefully you go out with your head held up high, man. Because massive respect to be fighting in a war, and then also boxing as hard as it is. So again, kudos to you, my brother. Reports have been suggesting that Terrence Crawford's team have increased their offer of $2 million to fight Kell Brook in November. It's clear that this fight is going to take place now. Both fighters seem keen on it. My only question is, I'm expecting the fight to take place at 147 welterweight. That is. Kell Brook, you've been fighting at 154 since your defeat to Errol Spence. Can you even make weight? Interestingly, these were Kell Brook's exact words on social media. Talks are progressing. We feel like we are edging closer. Terrence Crawford is in his prime and in many people's eyes pound for pound number 1. When I dethrone him, I believe you'd have to say it is right up there amongst the biggest victories in British boxing. Kell Brook, what are you on, bro? Dethrone who? Terrence Crawford, bro. Are you for real? Bro, you fought Errol Spence when he wasn't even in his prime. And he and Terrence Crawford are considered the kingpin of that division. We saw how Errol Spence disposed of you and bust your eye socket. You think you can dethrone Crawford, bro? Listen, I beg you, Brook, just fight Amir Khan and call your career a day, bruv. Because it's gonna get bums on seats. It's gonna be a lot of talk. But we saw what Amir Khan managed against Crawford. He didn't last long neither. I don't know, man. What do you think, boxing fans? Can Kell Brook do the impossible? Because it is impossible. Like, I'm not even being funny. Like, there's certain boxers that when you put up opponents against them, it's just a no-brainer. Lomachenko's one of them, Crawford's one of them, and Canelo Alvarez, in my opinion. Like, no disrespect to you, Kell Brook, what you've achieved in being world champion and everything, but you're punching, and it's gonna be a schooling. But I look forward to it regardless anyway, because I'm a boxing fan. But let me know your fans, let me know your thoughts, boxing fans. Does Kell Brook have any chance of in the ring against one of the best pound for pound number ones in the world? Who knows? So I mentioned last week that Daniel Dubois was in action against a Snyder's. I think his name's Ricardo Snyder's. Got rid of him in round 2. And then this week I see now he's been moved up and ranked in the WBO to number 2. First thoughts, how? How did that happen? Then I realised we're talking about Frank Warren here. Like, we saw it similar to Anthony Yard, where very strategic with who they pick as his opponents, and then obviously raises their points tally in terms of rankings. He got into a position of being ranked number 1 at the light heavyweight in the WBO without really not fighting anyone with a significant name. He now took the leap of faith to go fight an old washed out Sergei Kovalev and fell short. I'm not being funny. Daniel Dubois is good. He's got a fantastic jab, power to die for. Didn't really do much in terms of the amateur scene because it got cut short and he turned pro. But the heavyweight game is no joke. Like, once you take that leap of faith, there's no turning back. Like Frank Warren was saying how if Joshua vacates the WBO, then I'm confident that Dubois will beat Usyk being number 1 ranked, that he'll beat Usyk for the world title. Bro, you need to put some respect on Usyk's name. Do you think Usyk is a small boy? You don't think he will school Dubois? Yes, he might be significantly bigger in the weight, but you got to land a punch first in order to get the win, right? Peter Fury, interestingly, said something on Boxing Social not too long ago, and he was like, it's an insult to Usyk because we're talking about probably one of the most skilled operators in the ring, other than himself and Lomachenko or Canelo. But you're telling me a young, promising boxer will rely on his absolute brute force and knock out someone as skillful with his quick footwork and the feints of Usyk's capability? No way, man. No absolute way. And do you know what? Frank Warren, you're buzzing because, like, I don't know what dealings you got with WBO, but there's something wrong because every single time, all your fighters, you match them against poor quality opponents, but yet your rankings keep getting higher and higher. I hope that they end up fighting and Usyk schools him and lets him know that there's levels to this game. Don't get me wrong, and I'm not taking away anything from Daniel Dubois. He's just fighting whoever's in front of him. But his real acid test will be against Joe Joyce. And even that, now that I'm thinking of over and over again, that's not even promised. Joe Joyce could probably show him the levels because, again, of his extensive amateur background. But only time will tell. Let me know your thoughts, boxing fans. Does Daniel Dubois beat Usyk? In my opinion, hell no. And does Daniel Dubois beat Joe Joyce? MTK Global hosted a show this week as well. Fantastic show. I really enjoyed it. Massive props to MTK Global. Congratulations to Akeem Ennis-Brown on becoming the Commonwealth and British Super Welterweight Champion. All I can say about you, my bro, is, you got some awkward style, man. Fighting in the ring will be long. Massive kudos to Philip Bowes. I think that's probably the second time I've probably seen him in action, and he seems very skilled southpaw. They were both southpaws. I think Ennis-Brown just got into his head and threw him off his game, and that's what caused the loss. But kudos to both fighters, and all the best for Ennis-Brown. Hopefully you get more opportunities to defend that and more bigger fights. The fight of the night for me, though, was Harlem Eubank and Martin McDonough. They've got history from the amateurs, and Harlem Eubank, that left hook, my bro, perfect sweet shot. And I've seen McDonough in action against Daniel Benike, so I kind of seen what he's about. But it was interesting to see how you managed to close him down and literally just go for the jugular. I would like to see you against Daniel Benike, me personally. I think that would be a good fight for you. Who knows? We'll see if it ever happens. Dan Aziz and Andre Sterling, massive respect to both of them. They're all hell from Lewisham. My G's them. My manner. yeah, I couldn't disagree with the decision. Dan Aziz was the better man on the night, but that's not taking away anything away from Andre Sterling. Tough cookie, hard man to break down, but I guess it just wasn't his night. Interesting to see where his career goes from there, because that is now, I think, 3 defeats back to back, if I'm correct. Craig Richards, Liam Conroy, and now Dan Aziz. So I don't know where he goes from here, basically. But sky's the limit for Dan Aziz. He still retains his English title, and we'd like to see him now start contesting for the Commonwealth and British level, basically. We also saw Channel 5 Mick Hennessy take place this weekend. Massive congrats to Samir Ziani on retaining his European title. Didn't watch the fight per se, but I heard it was one hell of a fight. And I'll definitely be keeping an eye on him from here moving forward. Again, Isaac Chamberlain was in action again. Stopped his opponent within 50 seconds of the first round. Boy, saying good thing comes to those who wait. It looks like he's back on track now, and we'd love to see him in the ring more often against some quality opponents. So we'll see how his career unfolds. There's going to be loads of heavyweight fights taking place before the end of the year. I've listed the main ones that I feel that I'll definitely be watching, and I've just been thinking about naming after White's defeat to Povetkin. I'm just trying to figure out like who will be my top 10 world heavyweights in the scene right now. I'm going to do that and let you guys know, and then I want to get your thoughts. I want to get everyone's take on it as well. So Usyk Chisora is scheduled for October 31st. We've got Andy Ruiz versus Chris Arreola, November the 7th. On the undercard, that will be Luis Ortiz versus Scott Alexander. I've never heard of him, but I'm sure Ortiz should dispose of him because he's supposed to be the bogeyman. But interestingly, the winner of the Ruiz fight and the Ortiz fight will fight each other next year. So that will be an interesting fight. Luis Ortiz versus Andy Ruiz Jr. I would like to say Andy Ruiz should win, but it will be a battle of a technical prowess. But only time will tell. White Povetkin should take place on November 14th or November 21st, according to Eddie Hearn. But funnily enough, that's exactly the same date as Joe Joyce and Daniel Dubois. So, boxing fans, what fight are you going to be watching? I know what fight I'll be watching. Joshua Pulev looks scheduled to be set for December the 12th. And then obviously the trilogy of Fury and Wilder, December the 19th. So there's going to be loads of massive fights taking place, fingers crossed, before the end of the year. Fast forward a few months before, no one would have thought these fights would have taken place because of the current pandemic. But thankfully, we might just see busy 2020. Yeah, and I can't wait. I genuinely can't wait. That's it for all the boxing news, Boxing Weekly Roundup with myself, Big Nige. Thank you again to all the boxing fans for tuning in, liking, share, subscribing. Do not forget to press that notification for whenever we produce new content. Again, we much really appreciate it, and long may it continue. When fish fly, Big Nige.